The simple and straightforward turbocharged Volkswagen Jetta is the Daily Motor fuel economy test leader in both its automatic and manual transmission forms. However, we have yet to test an SEL model with a little bit larger wheels and the automatic transmission. So, can this one keep punching above its weight and very much exceed its EPA number on the highway? Tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and tonight we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta. In this test, I'm going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get a realistic fuel economy number for this compact sedan. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Slight refresh for 2025, looking a little different, but still working very much the same. Also having a little bit better control mechanism in the inside with more physical controls for climate. The Volkswagen Jetta. Now, like I said, this is an SEL model, so this is going to be one of the more desirable ones outside of a higher performance GLI. The last pretty basic sport model we tested had the manual transmission, which was pretty cool and is no longer offered outside of a GLI. But it was pretty basic, had a pretty trash 4-speaker sound system, and I'm not even going to mince words, it's one of the worst we've ever tested. This one has the much better but short-lived 8-speaker Beats audio sound system, and heated and ventilated seats for all about $30,000. So if you do want to see more on the Jetta, check the link below. We're going to have a full review and a breakdown of the sound system, and I think the infotainment test as well. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA test on this Jetta, which gives 40 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. And we've noticed that German cars tend to do quite well when just simply cruising at higher steady state speeds, especially smaller aerodynamic cars like this compact sedan Jetta. And evidence of that is the fact that even though this car is only rated at 40 MPG, the last two Jettas that we tested got 47 and 50 miles per gallon on our steady state highway speed tests. So in order to test out that number and get a real world figure, we're going to head out on the highway tonight when there's very little traffic. We're going to do 100 miles, and I'm going to come back to the gas station and fill up at the same pump that I started at, using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few other things to note for tonight. Outside temperature will be about 60 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast. Tire pressures are going to be set to their door placard number. Let me take a quick pause and see what that is. We're looking at 36 PSI cold, so I'll ensure that it's set to that before I head out on the test. And we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. So without any further ado, let's head to the gas station. All fueled up at the gas station. Days are getting a little bit longer here and after daylight savings time, so you all are actually going to get a little bit of daylight in these tests, which is nice. Let's get our... reset our long-term trip meter here. We have our average fuel economy set. With the climate control at 73 auto. And reset our GPS as soon as it connects. And we are ready to begin. And we do have a few different drive modes here in the Jetta. We've got normal, sport, custom, and eco. We're going to do this test in eco. And there's some debate out there sometimes in the comments about whether the test should be done in eco or normal. I am of the opinion that if you're somebody who cares about fuel economy and you're going to go out on a longer highway drive and it's a drive that you're just going to be putzing around, why wouldn't you run an eco? Why wouldn't you take the opportunity for the car to optimize itself for fuel economy? That's what I do if I'm going out and just doing a steady state smooth highway drive. I'm going to throw the car in eco. Now realistically, it's probably not going to make much of a difference when you're just cruising at highway speeds, but, well, you're going to stop, Mr. Tesla? Goodness. But some people like to say, well, you should do the test in normal because that's what most people drive in. I don't know. I guess I'd say most people don't really care about getting the utmost best fuel economy. But either way, we're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway. It's about half a mile away and pick up the test from there. Now, the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy out of this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to test that out, I'm going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. Alright, I'm getting distracted by a blue and orange flashing light up there. would seem as though maybe there's some officer of the law performing some of his duties. Looking like the car speedometer is about 1 mile per hour above the GPS, so we're going to settle in around 72. Initial highway impressions, if we close our, well, it's pretty much just a mesh shade up here, so I don't think it's going to quiet the cabin much, but yeah, okay. Doesn't seem too loud in here actually for this concrete section of highway. Do have a little bit of an active lane keeping functionality. IQ Drive Travel Assist. Oh, wow, actually, is this this seems to be a bit of an active lane centering functionality. This is working pretty well. Okay. That'll be interesting to test over this whole time on the highway. All right. Yeah, it seems to jump right back on. See, this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Tesla did a magnificent job at marketing autopilot, but this is essentially doing everything that basic Tesla autopilot can do. Now, don't get me wrong, Tesla did it much earlier, I get that, but you don't see other brands marketing it the same way, and I don't know if you want to say that's smart on Tesla and dumb on the other brands or what, but it's not just Teslas now that can quote-unquote drive themselves. I mean, full self-driving is a whole different story, but just basic autopilot, this is actually quite good from a $30,000 car. Anyway, we're going to continue on with the test, catch up with you at the end. I've got a lot of members-only tracks to get through, so I'm going to dive in. And in the meantime, enjoy this time-lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Volkswagen Jetta. What do you know? We are destroying the EPA figure once again, third time in a row for the Volkswagen Jetta, looking at 49.2 miles per gallon according to the vehicle's trip readout. Very impressive. We did see over 50 at one point in the test, actually 2 different points during the test, but seems to be leveling out here around 49. Very happy with that. Overall, this is a fine car to spend highway time in. The IQ Drive does decently well. I like that it doesn't beep at you for a really long time. First progression is you get a very tiny little steering wheel icon down there near the cruise control set. That pops up right there. And then if you ignore that for a little while, then you'll see it in the middle. And then after that, it'll turn red, and I think it starts flashing, beeping at that point. But very few intrusions and beeps in the Volkswagen Jetta, even for 2025. I appreciate that. Also, road noise fairly good for this class of vehicle. It's not too loud in here. Fine with that. The ride's a little stiff, a little bouncy, but not the end of the world. Seat comfort is fine. Again, we're all talking in class here. Ergonomics are good though. I've got comfy places for my elbows, and the steering wheel goes nice and low. I appreciate that. I've been happy with it. I've been comfortable. Nothing to complain about. In terms of the tach shot, here at 71 to 70-ish miles per hour, just a hair over 2,000 RPM. Makes sense for a motor this small, a little turbocharged engine. Still pretty decent figure there. Yeah, other than that, I'm going to take it nice and easy back to the gas station, fill it up, and then I'll catch up with you in the daylight to crunch our final numbers and see how this one compares. I do think, if the gauge cluster is to be believed, this version of the Jetta is going to beat the last Jetta automatic that we tested for fuel economy. So pretty impressive. Also, we just hit 70 miles per hour on our moving fuel economy, or moving speed average. So very successful test. Back after a successful fuel economy run here the next day, and last night at the pump we ended up putting in a total of 2.151 gallons into the tank to brim it back off. Well, technically not brim it, but 3-click it. And taking our 100.3 miles traveled divided by that 2.151, we're getting 46.6 miles per gallon. So a decent bit lower than the vehicle's trip readout, but giving us that round up to 47 miles per gallon. Exactly what we got with the last automatic Jetta that we tested. Not quite as high as the manual, but I believe it, and still a fantastic number, better than its EPA result, and better than all of its peers. Good job, little Jetta. We've got a 13.2 gallon fuel tank in here, so 13.2 times 47 miles per gallon is giving you a healthy 620 mile range cruising on the highway here in the Volkswagen Jetta, even in SEL form. And it goes right back to what I said before. If you don't do a lot of city driving and you put a lot of miles on at steady state speeds, whether that's 50 miles per hour, 60, 70, 80, doesn't matter, get yourself a German sedan. And if you're on a bit of a budget, get yourself the Jetta. It just works so well for this sort of purpose. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Jetta, check the link below. We've got that members only sound test already published here. We've got the normal sound test and the full review coming as well. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.